Christ's love compels us, is the theme for the 43rd Annual Bishop Services Appeal. I hope, I pray, and I ask of you today to consider a financial contribution to support the Bishop Services Appeal and carry out Christ's mission of love.
Hello everyone, I'm Blue Rolfus, Director of Communications for the Diocese of Lafayette. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Catholics Today. We are very excited to welcome a member of our clergy today, Father Neil Pettit, who is pastor of Immaculate Conception in Morse Midland area, as well as St. John the Baptist in Lions Point. Welcome, Father Neil. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
You have a big job. In addition to being pastor of two churches, you are also the chairman for the Centennial Youth Fest. Tell us, what is the Centennial Youth Fest all about?
Yes, ma'am. So Father Cedric Saunier, chairperson for the Centennial Year activities and Bishop, on behalf of Bishop Desatel, asked me to take this on, really kind of as we are celebrating the past 100 years of our diocese, and we've done so much already to celebrate those 100 years, looking forward to the next 100 years, looking forward to kind of the future of our church, and bringing an event specifically for our youth into the diocese, something substantial, something worthy of the past 100 years and the many obstacles we've overcome and the many good works that we've done as a diocese.
Absolutely, and they are the future of our church.
Correct.
As you said, definitely. Now tell us, when is the event taking place?
So the event will take place on October 20th from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. In downtown Lafayette, specifically in Park International. So very excited about it. Hopefully we're praying for good weather as it's an outdoor venue. It's the name of the game, but I'm sure God will take care of it.
And October is probably, I think everyone would agree, the most pleasant month
Correct.
of the entire year in South Louisiana.
Hopefully we hit that 2-week window of fall. That's what we're hoping for.
Exactly. Good choice of date. Now, where exactly is the Centennial Youth Fest taking place?
So we're renting Park International in downtown Lafayette. So it'll be nice. It'll be outdoor event, but also secure, safe space. We're all familiar with the facility, gated in, beautiful facility built by the city of Lafayette. Mm-hmm.
And it is such a wonderful venue because it's a large area, but there's an intimate feeling to it. Having attended so many events there, from Downtown Alive to concerts and everything else, I think it's a wonderful choice because it's right in the heart of downtown Lafayette, so everybody knows exactly where it is. Now, what would you say is the purpose of Centennial Youth Fest? Of course, as we said before, it's aimed at our young people, at the future of the Catholic Church. But in your words, what is the real purpose behind the Centennial Youth Fest?
Yeah, that's a great point. And kind of thinking about that, I was thinking about it, praying about it, talking with some different people, and the first thought would be, whenever we look at Centennial Youth Fest, obviously providing an opportunity, providing an event specifically for our youth. And then I spoke with one person from our diocese, a layperson, and she said, I think you're kind of missing something. And I said, well, what do you mean? She goes, we're celebrating 100 years of our diocese. We're celebrating all the good things. And she said, in a special sense, we're celebrating the fact that our Eucharistic Lord has been present in the Diocese of Lafayette for 100 years. And I thought about that and I said, what better place than going to the heart of our diocese, the heart of downtown Lafayette, and bringing our Eucharistic Lord into the heart of downtown Lafayette. So bringing the Eucharist and kind of reclaiming, in a sense, our downtown part of the city as what the Acadians were known for, their faithfulness to the Eucharistic Lord, their faithfulness to the Holy Catholic Church.
That's a wonderful, wonderful idea, because we're Catholics, and that's why we're here. And as you pointed out, the cathedral is the center of the entire Diocese of Lafayette, and it's just a stone's throw away from Park International, so that's absolutely perfect. Now, why are we having this event now? Of course, when you look at the name of the event, you kind of get a hint, Centennial Youth Fest, but why now?
Sure, certainly. To do a couple different things. One, provide the youth event, obviously, first and foremost. Two, with everything going on in the church and in the world, which we're all aware of, an incredible opportunity for us as a diocese to come together. And not only, for our youth, but for the good lay people of our diocese, the good priests, the holy religious of our diocese, the nuns, the brothers, to come together to worship together and to pray together and to continue to build this sense of fraternity, this sense of community within our Catholic Church locally, as well as as we're finishing up the Centennial Year's events. We've moved through so much of the past, and I can think of at least 6 or 8 different churches that had big Centennial Year masses. Specifically, I think of in Brobridge, where they had so many articles from Bishop Jean Mard. You think about St. Peter's in New Iberia. You think about some of Abbeville. You think about kind of like the different parishes, those old parishes in our diocese that had real heirlooms of some of our former bishops, of some of our very early priests, even some of our immigrant priests who came over from other countries, from Canada, from France, to serve our country. And looking at that, and we've journeyed through the past. We've journeyed through the last 100 years. And so kind of as we're starting to close out and kind of being, the end of the Centennial Year in sight, looking to see, building ahead, where do we want to be in another 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, 100 years? Who do we want to be as a diocese, as a people of faith? So I think it's really kind of providential in a sense that we are moving in that direction.
Absolutely. Now, who is the target audience? Of course, it's a youth fest, so we're expecting that young people would be the main target. But who would be involved in that demographic that you're looking to target?
So we're looking to target certainly like our high schoolers, our college students, and then like moving outside of that. I remember, kind of in seminary, and we would talk about these different things, and we talk about the church, and then the very special and specific vocation of the family, and kind of growing in holiness as a family unit with our mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers. And so kind of in speaking about this with some different people, my first thought was, and it really occurred to me when somebody asked me, they said, well, I have middle schoolers, but back 6-8 months ago when we're planning all of this, saying this is something that I want my kids to be a part of. Yeah, they're not in high school. Yeah, they're not. But can we make this an event where, the target audience is not just limited to that? And I started thinking about that. I started thinking about if we're looking to the future of the diocese, so much of the future of our diocese is going to be dependent upon the families of our diocese today. That's what's going to lead to the future of our diocese tomorrow. So kind of building it around the youth, the future of our diocese, also the families of our diocese, also, the people as a diocese, as a local church, who desire to grow in community and fraternity and holiness together with one another. So we're really inviting all people, kind of building out, kind of in circles, in shells, I guess, or in layers around that mentality.
That makes a lot of sense. That really makes a lot of sense. And then that enables families who have teenagers as well as maybe middle schoolers to attend as a family.
Right.
And that's where our faith is always born anyways, in our families. Now, what is the cost of the event? How much is it going to cost to get in?
Okay, so the event's going to be free, as we've tried to do.
Yeah, wonderful.
It's a tough thing to do in this day and age, but I think we'll be able to pull it off. As we try to do Centennial Year events, that was one thing that the Centennial Year Committee kind of expressed to me a desire to make an event that is free, to make an event. It's funny. You think about those things and you think, a $5 gate fee is nothing. Well, a $5 gate fee for somebody who has a couple of kids, they bring their spouse, they maybe bring, a grandparent or something like that. All of a sudden, that turns into a chunk of money.
Yes.
And it's something that kind of as a priest, as my own fault, I may not think of as the first thing, but trying to be conscious of that if we want to provide Centennial Year events for the good families of our diocese, for the future of our diocese, for the kids in our diocese who don't have jobs and paychecks.
Yes.
This is important. These things matter. We don't want it to be another fee, another expense for a family. So it is going to be free.
That's terrific. That's wonderful to know. And you would hate for someone to not be able to attend because of the price of admission.
Exactly.
So that's Wonderful. Now, if we're bringing the Eucharist, Lord, to downtown Lafayette, that kind of presents some challenges, because normally when we take Jesus with us on the road, it's from one church to another, or maybe to a nursing home or
Sure.
to a hospital. So how exactly is that process going to work?
Okay, so a challenge is kind of the understatement of the event, but it's doable. It's doable, and all things that are worth doing, have challenges, I guess. So with that being said, we have one of our priests from our diocese who's been so good in preparing the logistics of this. So there's a couple of different things bringing our Eucharistic Lord into downtown Lafayette that we're looking at. One of them is, as we look at the lineup for the day, we're going to have a 4 o'clock anticipated Mass. So we'll have a Mass in Park International in the middle of downtown Lafayette, literally bringing the Lord from heaven to earth, which will be incredible, using the stage as the sanctuary, for all of our seminarians, our priests, to vest and be seated up there. And then secondly, at the closing out the end of the day from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m., our bishop has been generous and gracious with this time, and we'll have candlelight adoration with Bishop Desautels. Once again, kind of bringing the stage back to more, I guess, like a sanctuary feel, altar, everything. So that'll be really nice. So there's some logistical challenges that come with that, but it's worth it for what we're doing.
Oh, most definitely. And having never attended Mass in Park International before, I
don't think anyone has.
I don't think so. This is definitely a first, but it's a wonderful first.
Sure.
It's a great idea. Now, let's see. Now, what are some of the other things that will be offered at the event? As you mentioned, it starts at 3, I believe, is that correct? And then the anticipated Mass at 4 o'clock, and then closing out with adoration. But what about that time period in between? What are some of the things that we can look forward to taking part in?
Okay, absolutely. So we'll open gates at 2:30. We'll have music. We'll have kind of very much like, I guess, a festival style atmosphere. Right after 3, we'll kind of kick off our programming for the day. We'll have a speaker. We'll have our MC and host kind of come out, greet everybody. We'll have a speaker a little bit after that, before 4 o'clock Mass, so 3:30ish. We'll have our first speaker. We'll go to Mass. After Mass, we'll have dinner. We'll have a concert at the same time. After that, we will have another speaker, and then kind of prepping for adoration, getting everybody's, I guess, hearts and minds prepared for that, and then adoration with the bishop. So we have a couple speakers, we have bands throughout the day, as well as the bishop, Mass, adoration.
Well, That's a wonderful combination of things. It's great entertainment, but bookended by the Lord, so to speak, on both ends.
Exactly.
Yes,
so it'll be a good lineup. It'll be a lot of fun. At the same time, kind of in a sense, what we're serious about. It'll be about prayer and worship, with a lot of other things mixed in a very family-friendly environment. Kind of probably a lot of the like-minded people from Acadiana. People who think like us, believe like us, people who are part of our Holy Roman Catholic Church.
And what a great opportunity for all of us to be able to share our faith with each other too. It's great lineup, most definitely. Now, who is speaking and playing at the event? You mentioned we'll have music as well as some interesting speakers. Can you give us a preview of who we'll be hearing from?
Absolutely. So our MC, host, and speaker will be Paul George, who's
wonderful talent. Yes,
from here, local product, one of the best speakers I've probably ever heard. Phenomenal local talent. And so he'll be our keynote speaker for the evening after the dinner concert, as well as our host, kind of MC, working throughout the day in those transitions and kind of, directing the crowd and such. And then we're bringing a band down from Nashville, the Stevie Reese Band. Some of our viewers might recognize that name. He's a Breaux Bridge product.
I was going to say, if his name is Reese.
He's out of Breaux Bridge, right? That's St. Martin Parish name through and through. But Steve used to be the fiddle player for a band called L'Angelus that lived in Lafayette for about 5 years. So he's bringing his band out of Nashville. He's been up in Nashville for probably about 7 or 8 years now, I think. So he's bringing his band down from Nashville to come down, kind of as a tribute, this is home for him. So it's very, very generous of him to do that.
Very generous of him. Oh, that's wonderful. I can't wait to hear him and his band play. And Paul could read the phone book and make it sound fascinating and spiritual at the same time. Let's see. Now, is anyone else going to have a presence at the event in addition to the speakers and the entertainers, as well as, of course, all the participants? Who else can we expect to see there?
Sure. We should have one kind of, I'll say, guest speaker that people aren't expecting. We're still finalizing the last little thing.
Okay.
So we're gonna play the cards close to the vest on that one, because I don't want to speak ahead of myself.
Sure.
We're expecting to have a number of our priests from throughout our diocese here. Very excited about that. We've gotten tremendous support just from the different regions, from different priests that I talked to. In the beginning, I guess a little bit of consternation, concern, the unknown. Everybody always wonders, what exactly are you asking us to commit to? What exactly are you asking us to kind of come out and support, put our name on? So the priests have been great. We're expecting to have a number of religious orders from throughout the diocese, obviously, but then also we have some different nuns, some monks coming in to our diocese kind of to support this and have a presence. So it'll be a wonderful opportunity for our young people, our families to have an experience with maybe some of the religious orders, the parts of our universal church that we don't interact with on a daily basis, coming from other parts of the country and the world. Very excited. We'll have Father Champine's spiritual care mobiles. We'll have priests from our diocese hearing confessions throughout pretty much the entire event, except for Mass time from 4 to 5. So a great opportunity to go and to be forgiven by the Lord at the hands of his simple priest. So a lot of different elements moving at the same time, but also a lot of really wonderful things to be excited about, to get excited about.
It sounds like it. And we so frequently talk about the ongoing need for vocations, for dedicated, energetic young priests like yourself, and this will be a great opportunity for young people in our diocese to maybe even begin the discernment process.
Absolutely. So with that being said, I can't believe I almost forgot. We'll have all of our seminarians that are studying in the state of Louisiana coming back for it. So that's probably 25, 30 guys that we're going to be bringing home, coming back from Notre Dame Seminary in New Orleans, St. Joseph's Abbey and Seminary in Covington. All of those guys being brought back in. We'll have our vocation director and director of seminarians, Father Patrick Broussard and Father Kevin Bordelon, also there.
Great.
And then Father Broussard will be preaching the homily at Mass. So I would imagine we're probably going to get a homily about vocations. That's kind of the name of the game. But I'm anxious to see.
That's a lot to look forward to, most definitely. Now, let's see. Anytime there's a big event like this, because this is going to be a big event with lots of people going, the first thing people start worrying about is, where am I going to park? Because downtown Lafayette can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes with parking. What are some of the plans to handle parking in the event?
So with that being said, that was one of our biggest logistical concerns. But we use Downtown Lafayette, we use Park International for Downtown Alive, Festival International, all the big things, the biggest things in Lafayette. So kind of looking at that, we have the parking garage in Downtown Lafayette. It'll be Saturday evening, so really most of the roadside parking should be available. Our different parking lots kind of in downtown Lafayette. Please don't park anywhere where they say do not park, you will be towed. We don't want
block a driveway.
Exactly, don't block a driveway, don't do that. But we're really hoping to have space. We're working on anybody who has handicap needs or anything. We should have availability right near the venue. So if they kind of pull up on the main drag, we'll have people directing them. We'll have security. We'll have kind of all of those logistical things planned out. So
that'll be great. And of course, as you pointed out, thousands of people turn out for Downtown Alive, Park International, any of the other major events that are held there, and it always works out. So it will this time. And we have the Holy Spirit on our side this time too. So. Now, one question that has come up in the past, anytime an event is held at Park International, is where will people be able to sit. Some people like to sit on the ground at events like that. Some people stand or dance or just walk around and visit sometimes, so sitting isn't a problem. But what would you recommend in terms of if people are hoping to be able to be seated at least for part of the time? What's your advice?
So we'll have a very limited seating area. Some of our stuff specifically dealing probably more with maybe any of our elderly or handicapped that want to come. As well as like during dinner, having some very small seating arrangements. But we're really encouraging people kind of, bring a chair if you want to sit. It'll probably be a very, I'll use the word like loose environment, festival style in the sense of some people seated on the ground, just kind of like Downtown Alive or Festival International. People seated on the ground, people walking around, people kind of moving and stuff. But if you do want to come for the entire day, it might be a prudent thing to bring a lawn chair or bag chair just so that you can get off your feet for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Good idea. Or maybe even just a blanket to spread out.
Sure. Just to spread out and kind of get off of your feet for a little while.
Exactly. Festival style, as you
style.
rightly pointed out. Now, we discussed that the event is from 3 to 8 p.m., and you mentioned that dinner would be part of it. Will people be able to purchase concessions or food or beverages while they're there?
Absolutely. So, the other biggest logistical concern is the capacity of the park is 6,900 people. So,
wow, I didn't realize it was that many.
If we actually have a full house, where do you feed 6,900 people? So unless Father Broussard or the bishop can take 5 loaves and 2 fish and feed that size of a crowd,
you never know. But
you never know. I don't want to count them out, but I don't necessarily want to place my faith in that. So it becomes a little bit of a logistical issue, and kind of looking at how do you feed vast numbers of crowds like that and do it in a decently speedy process, in a time window. How do you do this without having lines kind of, miles and miles and miles long? So we will have concessions for purchase. We've worked very hard to handle the logistical side of that. Very generously, our Knights of Columbus have offered to help. So they're going to come out there.
They're wonderful.
They're incredible. They're going to come out there. They're going to be prepping the food, serving it, taking care of that. We do have Coca-Cola has been a very generous sponsor to come out and to help us with that, with taking care of the drink orders. So we do have food available for purchase. It's going to be at a very, very reasonable price. We're trying, my big goal was to make it a Centennial Year event that is available for families, for high schoolers, for college kids. And so
who don't have very much money.
Who don't have very much money. And so the first thing, whenever we're looking at kind of, the logistics of paying the bills of, everything from stage and sound production to bringing in bands, to bringing in speakers, like how do you do that? And everybody who, I guess, has ever done event production, you make your money on concessions. But you make your money on concessions by charging what I call stadium prices, the prices we pay to go to UL football and baseball games, all those kind of things. And that's not something that I wanted to have to do. I didn't want to be charging $4 for a Coke or whatever, because I think there's other ways to do it. And so we've had some generous sponsorships. With that being said,
that's great.
We still are going to be able to provide food for a very, very reasonable cost, much cheaper than leaving the event and having to go deal with, at 8 o'clock at night, pick up fast food or go out to eat or something like that on the way home.
Which would be even more expensive.
Exactly. So that's where we're at currently.
And once again, the admission is free. So that's the biggest thing that people have going for them. Now, let's see. And of course, this is a once in a lifetime, or at least once in a centennial event that we'll celebrate. Is there anything that people can purchase to keep as a memory, as a memento of the event? Because people are going to be talking about the Youth Fest and thinking about it and having wonderful memories of it for a long time to come. Are there any plans for that in place?
Sure. So on our website, if you look, kind of start looking around town, we have, we should have our flyers up at pretty much all of our churches and Catholic schools at this point. We're starting to get our postcards out there through our Catholic schools. Kind of some of the businesses around town look for them on the counter, and on there we have our website. If you go to the Diocese of Lafayette website, you can find our webpage. And through that, it links to our online store, as well as we'll have people the day of the event selling, T-shirts, the buttons like they do for Festival International, baseball hats, tote bags. So looking to kind of have mementos of a once in a lifetime, once in a centennial year event. I definitely don't plan on being around for the next centennial year, so I figured we'll do it now. And we'll do it very nice.
I don't think I'll be there, but I've got hopes for you.
Who knows? So it'll be nice. We'll do that. We're very excited. We're going to ask people certainly to keep their eyes and ears open as they start seeing. We wanted to get past the opening of school and then kind of start promoting. Everybody has their first day of school Facebook pictures and stuff, and we don't want to get lost in the blogosphere. But looking, we have some billboards around Lafayette. We're going to be on 94.5 and 99.1 coming up in the near future. So looking for kind of some of our advertising, certainly contacting the Chancery, our central offices, as well as looking it up on Facebook. We have an event, kind of all the different publications and publishing formats that we've gone to advertise what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be coming together to worship, as a diocese, as a family.
Exactly. And with all that promotion going on too, word of mouth is going to be great because families are going to be talking about it. The kids, the young people, not kids, but young people are going to be talking about it as well. And I think that's going to be a tremendous draw for a lot of people as well. One of the things that I was thinking about earlier when you were making a point about who the target audience is and having the opportunity for young people to be exposed to possible discernment toward a vocation of one type or another. It's probably also going to be a great opportunity for young people to network with each other because, as you remember, it wasn't that long ago that you were in high school or in college that you tend to hang with your group, kind of, the people that you go to school with. And since we have several different Catholic high schools within our diocese and many more middle and elementary schools, this would be a great chance for all of our Catholic young people to be able to interact with each other, and get to know each other better.
Sure, it's going to be a wonderful opportunity for that specifically. I can remember back, going into middle school, but more so high school. Kind of some of the lasting friendships still, people that I'm friends with today, I made friends with through some of the church retreats in Lafayette that were kind of like a multi-parish effort. They had a couple back when I was in high school, made some of those friendships, still stay in touch with some of those people today. So a wonderful opportunity to possibly look at priesthood, religious life, if you've never thought about it before. A great opportunity to be exposed or to maybe further that conversation with our vocations director, Father Broussard, who oversees not only entrance into seminary, but also consecrated life, also religious life. We will have booths there with some of our different, like I said, religious orders within the diocese, as well as I think we're currently at 6 or 7 coming in from outside of the state, from different parts of the country, flying in to send brothers, nuns, to come have a booth, talk to you about their specific charism, whether it's, the Carmelites or the Dominicans or the Servants of the Lord or the Missionaries of Charity or the Sisters for Life or, these different groups that are coming in and really have beautiful charisms. And sometimes it can be hard, in the daily grind of going to high school, going to college, school, work, friends, thinking about if the Lord does indeed have that plan for me, if the Lord does indeed call me to that, how do I figure out where he calls me? I go where there's joy, and so an opportunity to kind of experience that on a deeper level.
So once again, Centennial Youth Fest, Saturday, October 20th from 3 to 8 p.m. And Father Neil Pettit, we will see you there. And thanks for doing such a great job on putting this all together.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Once again, this is Catholics Today. Thanks for joining us.